Ignite Your Networking by Mergen Chuluun. He's the Executive Director of Business Council Mongolia. Mergen shares his real-life world business experiences and success and leadership. He's an executive level. He has some executive level leadership. His main objective in life or in any role is to make an impact, a positive contribution towards greater good for all stakeholders. Listen in as he shares how networking plays a vital role. Come on up, Mergen.
Thank you, Ryan.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I'm so glad to be here today. Because of the light, I cannot see you, but kind of see the people in front of me. But really happy to be here to tie in with Michelle's presentation. One of the main consumer happiness, consumer engagement movement that Ford initiated says, happy employees, happy customers, happy bottom line. So I managed Ford and Land Rover import and dealership business in Mongolia. Can we put my presentation up, please? Thank you. So the point of today is not just about how do we network, how do we connect, but why. And then we'll get into how. So actually, I don't have the clicker. Does somebody have the clicker? Thank you very much. Thank you, Ryan, for appearing on the stage. Give him a round of applause, please. So he's, I think, like many of us, he's volunteering, and so I'm happy to be an attendee like you here today. So let me make sure I'm doing this right. Okay, so we all know this statement. As I said, it's not just who, but how. How well? And of course, we want to start with why. There are some really great ancient Mongolian proverbs, and in Mongolia we have some wide steppes where you can see no fences, nothing, nobody for miles and miles, as far as the eye can see. And so you can see the meaning behind this word. It's vast. You are vast when you have connections. Here's another proverb I personally really love. While your horse is alive, see as many lands as you can. While your father is alive, make as many friends as you can. So how to network? How do we discover and fulfill our passions? So why network? What is the power of networking? So here are 4 main points. A, we can learn and grow through mentors, friends, whether it's advice or whether it's just experience sharing. We get to learn from pains as well as successes and gains of our friends, colleagues, employees, bosses, everyone we meet and connect with, family, and so forth. We can discover our passions by meeting with others who have walked the path we're interested in or we're curious about. We can learn from them, from their experience, to possibly find and discover our passions. And as you know, some of the most successful people in life today or in their career discovered their passions early. Elon Musk, for example, he knew his passions well before age 14 when he was becoming already successful. We have a young guy, Bear, who's a high school student. How many of you had a chance to meet him already? Okay, so I'm hoping GlenX will invite him next year, but he's in high school, but at age 13, he was working at Snapchat. So he found his passion, his amazing success story, I think, not just Elon, but also Bear. So this is a key for us at all age, whether we're 60, 70. The author of Harry Potter discovered her passions in her 30s or 40s. Well, I think she knew, but I mean, her passions really kicked off well into her 30s or early 40s when her first book started becoming bestsellers. We can achieve our dreams through learning from others on how to achieve our best practices, what books we should read or who we should meet. Right? Our friends and our connections help us. They tell us, hey, I heard about this. Check this out, right? And of course, we can change the world. Today is an example of us, people passionate about learning, connecting, gathering together to exchange and share information and experience. This is an example. Also, we can use it in our lives for whatever passions we have. We can find and connect with others with similar passions to make a difference. So how many of you has read this how-to book? Okay. Please raise them high because I can't see people in the back as well. Okay, great. At least half, maybe 60%. I call this a how-to book because if you read it, there's very specific examples on how you can improve on networking and connecting. Anyway, by the way, if you noticed, I moved on to how. Hopefully you're clear from the last slide and my examples. We're clear on why. We're clear on the power of networking to learn, grow, and fulfill our dreams. So this is one of the best books you definitely want to read and reread. How many of you have read the 4 Agreements? Okay, there's quite a few. To share a personal story, I used this book to rewire my brain the way I was thinking. And so I used to listen to this in a CD format in my car twice a week. The full book, it's 4 CDs. So there's a study that says an average American can earn 2-year college degree in 4 years if they just listen to audio while they're driving. This is an amazing opportunity. We could all be PhDs in a few years, right? So the thing is, we all have experiences in our lives, right? If our parents divorced, it has an impact that won't show up until you get married, for example. So how do we rewire our thinking, how we react, how we behave, so that we can be the good Mergen, the best Mergen, rather than the bad Mergen, right? I'm using an example on me. This is a great opportunity. For example, I just want to say the 4 main points. I think the laser is very not so bright on this, but first agreement is being impeccable with your word. You are and you do what you say and be. You are impeccable with your word. So you can say, I am impeccable with my word. Don't make assumptions. And you can say in your mind, I don't make assumptions, right? This is how we can, this is very important because we have expectations of family, friends, ourselves. What happens when our expectations are not met? We're unhappy or we're upset or something, right? So don't make assumptions about things and people. And the third one is, what is it? Don't take anything personally, right? So even if we get blamed, here's an example. Even if you have a gun to your head, the book says, don't blame the other person. What if you were in his or her shoes in the same environment, same situations throughout life? Maybe you'd be even a worse person, right? We never know. The person is enacting whatever experiences and stories he's had or she's had throughout their life. So don't take anything personally. Last but not least, always do your best. Your best will be different from morning to evening, when you're tired to when you're alert. So just always do your best, and you have nothing to worry about, right? So this is, it's more of a personal development type of material, but how you are as a person will impact how well you can connect with others, how well, we all have energies. We can feel each other. We can feel when someone's angry. Our pets can feel us when we're angry or not. Right, somebody's laughing. Who has a pet and can relate to this? So we have energies. So we want to be the best we can be. We don't have, sometimes people say, oh, I'm not that outgoing person. You don't have to be an outgoing person. You just be yourself, right? Some of the best people for networking or connecting with others are not the loud and party guys. They're genuine. They're maybe reserved, but you can have amazing conversations. So before I ask this question, this is my presentation that will be available to everybody, so I wrote it in a nicer way. Who has a bad boss? Okay, let's say this, nobody wants to raise their hand, but who had a bad boss in their life? Okay, great, almost everybody. Some of you are lucky, it looks like some of you are not raising their hands. So who's had a great boss? Good or a great boss? Great. So most of you have raised your hand. The reason I mention this is that we're spending most of our, 1/3 of our life working, most of our waking hours working. To be successful, or to, the word successful can have various meanings, but just to be as you want to be and to live a fulfilled life, if you're spending so much of your time there, it's great to have good relationship with this person, and this person can be a key to connecting you to others that may be of use or interest to you. So some of the ideas for having a great relationship is, obviously we want to work for somebody who cares for our success, wants to help us, but also there are some things we can do ourselves. We can manage the relationship with regular communication and contact. For example, when I became managing director for last company, I specifically requested that if he can spend 1 hour each week with me. That was more, growth and challenge was more interesting for me than salary. So he agreed, so I accepted. Of course, the offer was good too, but okay. So let's skip that. So how many of you have mentors, or have had mentors? Great, great. So I will not go too much into detail, but really it's about having greater self-awareness, having an expanded network, and increasing the likelihood of your success and decreasing likelihood of missteps or failures. We don't always have to make every mistake to really learn, right? And it's difficult to actually enact this because we learn better when we make mistakes, but this is a good opportunity. How many of you have heard of Johari's window? Okay, maybe 1/3 or 1/4. This is really an incredible tool to really know about yourself. So, for example, in the top left, you have open self, where you know something about yourself that others can agree to. But then you also have blind self, which is others know about you that you don't know about yourself. And how can this hinder you in terms of connecting with others or living a fulfilled life? We were talking earlier about making assumptions. There's assumptions being made by yourself about you that others don't have about you, or vice versa. So this can cause conflict as well. But really, the idea is to increase the open self more. So the better you know about yourself, and others can also agree, the better others can understand you, better you can be understood by others. So it just makes it easier for you to say, this is my passion. And so others can say, well, I want to join your cause. It makes it easier, right? So please look it up. We're limited on time, but this is an amazing tool. This is something we all want to think about. And network, we have so many people that we know, and they all know other people. So as long as we know who we want to be, what we want to do, then we have a huge resource that we can leverage. So in the earlier how-to book, there was a quote about the key is having a genuine interest in others. So Dalai Lama talks about, well, how do you develop this interest in others? So he makes the main point that compassionate attitude is key. So I'm assuming people can read that quite fast. So how do we develop this compassion? It's about loving yourself first. How can you expand love if you don't love yourself, right? So, I tell myself daily, almost daily, that I love myself. So I'd like to everyone do this exercise right now. So you say, name, I love you, right? So the name is your name. So 3, 2, 1, Mergen, I love you. Okay, one more time. Be brave. Okay, name, I love you. Okay, 3, 2, 1, Mergen, I love you. Okay, great. So say this every day. Then you can expand love to more. And a few quick points. About getting enough rest. You're more alert. You're more alive. You're more in the moment when you're well rested. Studies do show 7 to 8 hours is good. I know I'm guilty of not getting enough sleep sometimes, but this is what you want to what we want to target. And getting up at the same time, it also, there's a proven study, our biology is such that if we get up at the same time every day, we're alert, we're ready to go, right? So I think some of you have definitely heard about this. And balanced diet is also key. Sometimes we're grumpy, we're moody, or because we're missing certain diet, fruits, something. We could be missing iron. We know, for example, if we're short on sugar, we get angry, right? So people with low blood sugar for sure. So that's something to think about. And think big. We can only achieve what we set out to do, big or small. So might as well think big. And we all have 24 hours in a day, just like Bill Gates or anybody, Mother Teresa, anybody. We have 24 hours a day. And time is our most valuable item. And if we want to make a change, we have to stop doing something. What are we going to stop doing? What are you going to stop doing? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mergen.